everyone, welcome to this exciting panel discussion on revolutionizing digital marketing with AI. I think this is a topic which is not probably, the most discussed topic today in marketing, not just even marketing. I think anything we do to digital uh, areas like chat GPT is being discussed everywhere. So we couldn't have, better timings for this session. And looking into the panelists we have, couldn't have asked for a better group and mix of people who are part of this panel discussion today. I'm personally very excited and looking forward to learning because this is pretty new in all sense, and there is so much learning which is available for all of us. So, like all of you, I am also going to be participating more like a student of this topic and would be really looking forward to learning from all other panelists. Just to give a quick introduction, my name is Pradeep Chopra. I'm one of the co-founders at Digital Vidya. We started Digital Vidya 13 years ago. That was a time when Facebook almost entered in India. And we started with doing social media marketing workshops across India at that point in time. It was a very difficult stage to let people know, or especially parents know of a lot of students, that Facebook could be used for business, for work, rather than just socializing. But since then, the journey has been very exciting for us. In these 13 years, we have, I think, almost reached to significant percent of marketers in India, know almost every agency in India. A lot of our students are doing wonderful jobs at various places, including outside India. And there is so much learning which has happened through all these interactions with our participants, number of digital marketing program leaders who have been associated with us, number of webinars and panel discussions we have hosted over last, since 2013, we have been doing even webinars and panel discussions, more than 200 webinars or panel discussions we have done. So we are very fortunate to be at the center of this entire ecosystem to, not just contribute, but learn from and get back from it. So special thanks to all of you for taking time on this Friday afternoon, for all of those who are in India to be part of this session. And thanks to each one of our panelists who are going to be sharing their insights and expertise in this panel today. Let me do a very quick introduction so that we use more time for their sharing their expertise and giving you time to answer your questions. We have Kunal, who is Vice President Client Engagement at Merkle Socrates. It is one of the popular and doing fantastic work in digital marketing. Then we have Smita from 3M, and she has good mix of experience, including in B2B and marketing strategy, automation analysis, analytics. Those are the areas of her expertise. Then Ankit, who has worked with multiple agencies and brands. Last, he was serving, he was head of digital and performance marketing at Uber. And I think definitely one of the companies which has used both technology and marketing well. And we have Suyash from VIP. So I think the kind of companies, if you look at where we have panelists from, includes both brands, agencies, experience B2C, B2B, including content, performance marketing, overall digital, and experience in using technology. So that way, this topic, which is relatively new, but we could still get, I think, a healthy mix of panelists who have reasonable experience, understanding to be, leave you with some relevant insights and hopefully some actionable takeaways for you to be able to conceptualize, think, and at some point in time use. And if you're already using, probably improve the effectiveness of AI for digital marketing. For those of you who might be new, by the way, let me begin with the poll to get a sense of the audience we have. Now, let me begin with the first poll. And this is, I hope all of you got access to this poll. I request each one of you to answer this poll, whether you have used Chat GPT or not, because that will give us a sense of the audience we have. Because I think in AI, the most talked area, aspect, tool, platform today is ChatGPT, and that's one tool or platform which has made AI reach to the corners of the country. Great to see. I think as I can see, 86% of those who have participated have used ChatGPT, and I'm sure every one of us would have heard about ChatGPT. Great. I'll wait for another few seconds, but that gives us a good idea that most of the people have an idea, understanding, and some level of using ChatGPT as well. So 80-20 is roughly I can see. That's wonderful. And while you are, participating in this poll, what we are going to look at today is the role of AI in various aspects of marketing, especially digital marketing, starting from how it can help improve campaigns performance, how it can help automate, how it can help optimize, can it play a role in creativity within digital marketing, and what is the future which lies ahead of us, including the kind of skills which are expected for someone who wants to do well in using AI in digital marketing. What are the new career opportunities which are going to unfold as we evolve in this new era of ChatGPTs of the world? Great. So it's roughly 80% to 20%. That's great. What I'll do is, so as you can see, I'm just sharing the results as well. 77% of us who are already here have used ChatGPT, which is a very good sign for the kind of people we would have asked to be part of this panel. Let me do another poll that would give us further idea about the kind of people we have. This is the poll about what is your current profile? Are you a student or a fresher, sales or marketing professional? Are you already into digital marketing? An entrepreneur or CXO is looking at digital marketing for growing your organization or business, or maybe some other professional role which could be outside of sales and marketing. So let's wait for a couple of seconds. As I had expected, 40% of you are sales or marketing professionals. So good thing is 30% of you are in digital marketing. I think given this topic, it attracted a lot of digital marketers, including a lot of our current participants, students of our digital marketing training programs. We have a 20% CXO or entrepreneurs. That's another good, I think, percentage. Students is 2%. That's okay. Great. Another 30 seconds, I'll keep this poll open so that, this insight become useful for our panelists to share and customize our discussions accordingly. So we have 72 people who have already participated in this poll. Over 400 people had signed up for this panel discussion, and we are expecting, I think, during this 1 hour of discussion, over 100 people joining in live. I think we are that's what we had expected. Great. So let me close this poll and share the results. So we have 6% who are students, 36% are sales and marketing professionals, 28% are into digital marketing already, 19% are CX for entrepreneurs, and 11% are into other functional roles. I hope this is useful for our panelists to customize and personalize the discussion for the audience we have. Great. We'll do rest of the polls later. So as I was sharing, we are going to look at various aspects of AI in digital marketing. And so today's agenda is we have welcomed and introduced our panelists. We are going to go deeper in AI in digital marketing, and that's where we will have discussion. I just done a quick introduction. Today AI can be used for everything in marketing, in digital marketing, even beyond that. And we will going to explore all of those. And we want to have at least 10-15 minutes for active Q&A. You don't need to wait for asking your question in the end, though we will take the questions towards the end so that we can effectively use the time we have at our hand. So at any point in time you have a question, you're welcome to post it in the question and answer panel, which a good percentage of you have already used. So that's good that you'll be able to engage throughout the discussion. So let's begin the discussion. So the way we are going to do is, I'm going to open a question, which I'll be opening it to our panelists. And for each question, we will have not all, maybe some of the panelists based on their experience to share their views in that, so that all of our participants get to, learn from the experience of people who have already used or understand it well. I'm sure not everything is used by everyone, for sure. That's not even expected. But hopefully we would have some rich insights based on experience and understanding, right? Without taking more time, let me pose the first question, and we'll begin with, how can AI improve the effectiveness of digital marketing campaigns, right? So here, now, when I say campaign, it could be campaign, which could be a performance marketing campaign like online advertising. It could be SEO. It could be email marketing. So anywhere we are reaching out to more people using any of the mediums, how can AI play a role? So we'll shuffle, but let's begin with Kunal. Kunal, and let's have first question being answered by everyone. And I request all of our panelists to take, not more than 1-2 minutes at max. Yeah, Kunal, why don't you go ahead?
So, hi everyone, very excited to be in the session. Again, long way to go before I can call myself a domain expert in this on this topic. I consider myself as a student. So an idea behind joining this session was also to learn a lot from everybody, from my fellow panelists, from the audience. So here at, so I'm a part of Merkle Sokrati. We are a part of Dentsu Group, and our core area of expertise is performance marketing. So I'll speak from that perspective. But before that, I'll talk about the broader ecosystem. So for the people who have joined in, so there are two ends to it, putting it very simply. So one is the user acquisition, which is more relevant to this topic, campaign effectiveness, wherein you are trying to reach out to people to convert them into your customers, putting it very simply. And other is the whole ecosystem where you already have customers on board, whether it's your app or your website or the brand. And how do you engage with them with focus on two things? One is like retention, and other is like repeat purchase, how to drive revenue from the existing user. Now, from a perspective of campaign effectiveness, again, since the topic of discussion is AI, so historically, it has been, the whole ecosystem has been pretty much like, we have all these platforms, like Google, you have the whole metaverse, then you have other platforms like affiliate marketing, email marketing. So traditionally, what everyone has been doing, including brands, agencies, everybody, we identify the target audiences on the basis of few of the targeting options available on the platforms. Then we work on the communication bit, and then we run these campaigns, and then we look at the data and make changes and all that. But now everything is like becoming real time, thanks to AI. And also it is helping us in bringing in a lot of efficiencies in what we do by, saving time and reducing ad wastage, right? So that's how AI is helping us. Now, talking more specifically, now if we talk about audience targeting, right? The first thing I want to talk about is forecast targeting. Now, traditionally, we have been doing ideally two types of targeting. One is segment targeting, showing ads to group of users with some set of attributes. Second has been trigger targeting, wherein we show ads to users after they take a certain action. For example, viewing a product or adding an item to the shopping cart, right? Where you do remarketing. Now, a new trend, since quite some time now, the focus has shifted to predictive marketing, right? In which you show ads to user based on the likelihood of them making a purchase, right? The main difference between these targeting is that predictive targeting uses all possible combinations of tens of hundreds of user parameters with all the possible values. All other types of targeting rely on a limited set of parameters with certain ranges of value. And what exactly forecast targeting predicts is probability that a user will make a purchase in n number of days, right? Second thing which is relevant in case of AI is like LTV, lifetime value forecasting, right? Again, it comes on the basis of on the knowledge of total profit from a customer and time from which customer has been interacting with the business. Now, in this case also the only solution is to predict LTV based on the available data, right? How this data is used using AI, like segments are loaded, user segments are loaded into push notifications or email services and used for mailing to reduce customer outflows, right? Also, these segments are uploaded to Google Analytics. Since most of the people who have joined in are aware about digital, so I am talking slightly technical on technical terms. Are uploaded to Google Analytics and used to analyze the effectiveness of advertising campaign based on the predictive LTV, so that the advertising budget per user is determined based on LTV, right? And last is churn rate forecasting, which allows you to respond to a customer's intention to abandon your product or service before they actually do. So here also segments can be uploaded to email or push notification services, to Google ads, Facebook ads, and other advertising system. Now, without taking much time, when it comes to AI, see how it's helping. Again, talking about the ecosystem, we have the brand, we have the platforms like Google, Facebook, all these. Now, Google, Facebook, they are also evolving their system from time to time because they are sitting on a lot of data, right? So how AI is helping us is that from a communication perspective, like Pradeep talked about ChatGPT. When I get a chance later on in the session, I would like to talk about ChatGPT also. So from a communication perspective, AI is helping us to come up with a lot of options when it comes to ad copies, when it comes to creatives. It's saving us a lot of time and a lot of energy and manners which we used to put earlier. That's where AI is helping us. From user targeting, it is helping us a lot in doing predictive analysis and doing predictive targeting. And from a reporting perspective, right, it's helping us with a lot of report automation and generation of a lot of insights which earlier were not available with us despite sitting on so much data through all these platforms. So that's how through all these efforts in combined efforts, at the end of the day we are able to deliver better ROI to brands and bring in more efficiencies in our processes. So that's how AI has been helping us. Again, it's a vast domain, lot of things to touch upon, but broadly speaking, this is how it's helping us in improving the campaign effectiveness. Maybe my fellow panelists would like to share some thoughts on this.
Great, Kunal. Ankit, would you share? Next.
I think Kunal mentioned some great use cases, right? But I think for me, what we've seen is the entire life cycle, right? And I exclusively work with like early stage startups, right? So like beyond getting to the technicals, I think simple things is we are resource constrained, right? So even for competitive research, right? Like for example, what we do is saying, hey, who's my competition, right? So for example, you could choose if I am let's say a shoe brand, right? I could say, hey, who are the biggest shoe brands and how do they differ, right? So that sort of forms the basis, right? Then you come into saying, okay, what could be my messaging if I'm selling, let's say, a apparel brand, right? And simple use case is you go to ChatGPT and say, okay, what are some messages I could, or what are some Facebook ad copy I could use if I want to promote my apparel brand, right? And then even in the B2B space, right, when it comes to following up with prospects or managing all these CRM tools, right? Which is two pieces where I think it becomes very interesting is a lot of new people have issues onboarding to platforms like HubSpot, Salesforce. There's a learning curve, right? And I'll recommend everybody just try and look at Zapier and ChatGPT integration, right? And what that has done is just in the natural language, I could say, hey, can you email this prospect and then add them to my CRM database if they reply? Right now, imagine it is saving you 5 clicks and more importantly, not wanting to learn a platform, right? So for us, it's actually like for startups, because we don't have the luxury of resources all the time. We do a lot of competition research just using ChatGPT because it saves you at least 8 to 10 searches, right? Is it perfect? No, right? But it's a great starting point. Same as Kunal mentioned with creative and messaging, right? My humble suggestion is because it is AI, I won't recommend taking whatever AI gives you and making that your messaging. I use it as a repository of saying, hey, if you're struggling to get ideas, let's start with ideas here and then use those ideas to then craft our own messaging, right? Same way with automation. So I think fundamentally, we are seeing AI sort of come through in every aspect. But my only submission and as marketing would go, right? It's about being unique. So I won't say AI is gonna just replace everybody and you take whatever AI gives you. I think is a great sort of thought partner of sorts, right? Wherein you say, okay, you know what? I don't have a lot of ideas right now. Can I just crowdsource and use Chat GPT or even image GPT solutions, right? To create some text to image ideas. So that's how I would put it in terms of right from the research phase to actually optimization. I think it's an interesting sort of space. Are we there yet? Not clearly, right? In terms of just relying on AI, but it's a great thought partner of sorts.
Great, Ankit. Yeah, Kunal talked about predictive analytics in various stages. Ankit talked about, be able to leverage competitive insights. How can you do better? And we'll talk about tools and integration like Zapier and ChatGPT as we proceed. Smita, would you share from your experience how can AI be useful in improving campaign effectiveness?
Yeah, sure. So I think from the point of view, so I come from a very traditional manufacturing business, which is a totally B2B business and very cut and dried, right? So most of our marketing cycle is long. Our lead prospecting and lead generation cycle is extremely long. So how we use AI most effectively is to be able to create a customer profile, which can then be used for predictive analysis of conversion optimization. So just to give an example, like I have 100 people coming in, we can, with the help of the data structure that we build, like the attributes of the customer that we capture in our forms, etc., we build a customer persona based on their profile information, their engagement information, and then we know, and we kind of see it through the funnel, the full funnel, view visibility of that person's journey, whether they are kind of just engaging and going away or actually being considered as an opportunity by our sales teams. And then are they finally converting to being a 3M customer, right? And through that, we are building this, database and information where through, machine learning and AI, we are building personas who are more likely to convert for ourselves, which can then be used in our targeting in the upper funnel, right? So right now we are, evaluating our middle funnel and lower funnel, using that information to enrich our upper funnel, where we will be able to, target customers who are more likely to convert, because now we have that ability through AI. So I think that's how I would simply put in B2B marketing, that's one of the key ways that AI can improve campaign effectiveness. Yeah.
Great, Smita. Good to see that already playing a role for traditional businesses like yours and in B2B already. Perfect. Yeah, Suyash, would you share from your experience?
Yeah, I think Kunal, Ankit, and Smita have covered most of it, but I would want to say that AI has always been around, like 2015, I think. So that was the era. It was just that with ChatGPT, it's come in forefront for consumption of people who can just open up a browser and go ahead and ask questions and take inputs from the content, the vast content that is there on internet. If you ask me, Google's, Facebooks of the world have been using it for optimizing their ad campaigns, getting alpha beta tests done, and understanding there was a time when before GDPR it used to help connect all the data points that the consumer is providing with the data points that the marketeer has. And in addition to that, after GDPR, I think so, there is the sandbox is also an innovation aspect of AI. So what I personally have experienced with my category of products is we use specifically AI for understanding the visual cues that the consumer offers for what kind of bag they would want, what kind of prints they want. So, more than implementing it on campaigns, it gives us inputs on what our campaign idea should be. So a lot of man hours on understanding the vast choices that consumers are making uh, has to be distilled in something very precise and democratically understand. Okay, if we want to target Gen Zs, what is popular in Gen Z? We can't be making everyone happy though. But yeah, what is Gen Z speaking about? What's trending with them? So these are the small cues where probably hundreds of agencies come together. There are brand managers working day and night. Campaign effectiveness doesn't just be about numbers. It also starts with what communication you want to give, and the effectiveness. If you get 50% of, or even 10% for that matter, of your communication right to your audiences, you might see an exponential effect when it comes down to what consumer sees and how his zero moment of truth is reduced from certain tens of exposures to maybe probably two or three. So, as Smita said, that B2B, it's helped a lot to actually uh, actually finalize the whole profile of a consumer that they would want to go for. It's similar for a business like ours, where we would want to figure out what is the pulse of the market and try to offer the consumer what they need. So AI helps us optimizes for us the man hours, I would say.
Perfect. So I think it's not just limited to outreach and targeting. A lot of insights are useful for product marketing as well, sort of which otherwise it's almost impossible or not so effective. And as we move forward, we get into customer experience and engagement, we'll go deeper into. Now, what we'll do from here is I'll ask question to, I think, rather than each one of you sharing, two of you sharing for each, that would be useful. And given your experience, maybe Kunal and Smita, you can share your insights on the next question, and then one of you from brand, one of you from agency. Likewise, Ankit and Suyash, you can share for the follow-up question. I think that would help us use our time effectively, and we'll have time for audience Q&A. Thanks, everyone. Now, next is, and we have already touched partly, but this is very, very important area in terms of the entire marketing cycle. AI, has already been playing an important role, and it would be playing far more role as we move forward. So, Kunal, would you share the role of AI in marketing automation?
Sure. So, like I earlier touched upon the fact that there are two ends to it. So I'll talk about both. One is that when it comes to customer outreach, and I'll talk with an example. Like for example, say we talk about Google, right? So now earlier the way we used to run ads on Google, all the different formats which used to be available with us, there used to be a lot of manual effort, right? First, when it comes to setting up the campaign, setting up the ad accounts and structures, and then analyzing the data, pulling out reports, and then taking decisions on the basis of those data. All that is now happening on a very real-time basis. Like for example, on Google, you get a lot of insights again through AI. Like for example, you get an optimization score, right? There are three types of factors which Google takes into account when, for determining this score, right? But like all the recent history of recommendations, current trends in the ads that you are working right now, as well as different settings and statistical parameters of your account in general. It has a great influence over a number of areas inside your Google accounts, including ad extensions, keyword recommendations, budgets, right? You are on the right track or not, right? Then again, there is a metric called ad strength, right? There it evaluates your individual ads instead of the entire campaign. And it tells you that what is the current ad strength, using parameters like quality, diversity, relevance, and all, right? So having unique content for in your ads is very important, and one of the biggest goals metric. Again, coming to responsive search, right? Again, many of us are already using it. It's many brands or agencies are using it, right? So it's one of the biggest ad capabilities available on the platform, with multiple headlines, 2-character description, placement options available, and automatic. The automated testing gives Google the capability to figure out the most capable combination of description and headlines by doing that A/B testing on a real-time basis on the campaigns, right? And again, there are a lot of things like ad extension, automation, bidding automation, which Google allows us to do, right? And lastly, the smart campaigns, again, which can generate text-based ads based on a short description of product or service. So this is from the platform side, how AI is helping us in doing automation in our marketing campaigns. Now talking about the other end of the spectrum, when it comes to brands, their apps, their websites, the way brand is talking to the customer, having those communication channels have completely evolved and changed. Like, for example, if you go to an app for ordering medicines, right, it gives you n number of options. It will tell you that these were the medicines you have been ordering very frequently. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to browse for those medicines. It will just be listed there. You just have to click and they'll get added to your cart. Or you can repeat an order of your purchase, right? Then there are chatbots which are integrated on the website and in these apps where you can do complaint resolution, raising a complaint, and getting solution end to end. Like, you can raise your solution, the app will talk to you, and you will get the refund. There is no human intervention. So these are and it's happening right now from a end user perspective, right? So this is how AI is helping us, in an overall marketing automation by reducing the human element. Again, I double quotes, not eliminating the human element, reducing the manual efforts which used to go into all these things, so that we as humans can focus on more productive things, on more creative innovations and communication channels, rather than churning, doing data mining manually and analyzing the data and then taking the necessary actions. So yeah, that's how AI is helping in marketing out there. What do you, Smita?
Perfect.
Yeah, I think for us, like for what I think about, how I think about marketing automation is what marketing automation does is kind of set up an assumed journey, right? For your customer. We assume that this person is going to look at this ad, is going to go and click on this form, is going to fill this up, then we are going to show him this, he will react like this, So it's an assumed journey. It's a decision tree that you build for your customer. But we have to understand that journey is assumed. How AI helps is, I think the most key thing that AI helps in is to validate that assumption. Assumption correct? I mean, is what I'm serving different, and also help, through automation to serve up content dynamically, to continuously help to test and learn on that model, right? That, okay, I assumed that this message is working, like to what, Ankit was just referring to, or even Suyash was referring to, that we imagine that this is a message that is going to resonate with my audience. But is it really resonating? And if it isn't, we can set up the automation in a way to continuously keep testing different things and actually see what works. And sometimes, and it's interesting when we look at our data, like to see that, hey, like, the customer, and what we've realized in B2B, right, especially because we deal with very technical products, right? We've realized that a lot of people say, like, this is the age of reels. People want like short content. Not true. Because when you're talking about a serious product, it's a spec-in product. When we say spec-in means you need to know the specifications of the product to drive that purchase behavior. So they do need to read a lot more, right? And they do need to understand a lot more about the product. So, AI can help kind of keep refining our marketing automation assumed journeys to more real journey. So none of us are doing this for the fun of it, right? We want to kind of get real revenues, drive real revenues. And we have seen when we put this into action and look at the data. So we are building, machine learning model scoring for lead routing, for the entire lead management professionals here. I'm actually currently working on a project where the entire marketing team is, getting joined at the hip with our sales teams, because it's not just enough to get people into the funnel through the lead management process. So it's very important for even sales teams to understand how this automation works. So where did this customer really come from, right? What was the motivation, the trigger? And this was the message that the customer actually interacted with before the salesperson is picking up a call and talking to this person. Again, putting it back into a nurture cycle and automation cycle. So this is something, it's extremely interesting, at least in B2B, because we don't have the luxuries of huge media budgets, and we kind of don't have customers that are easy to find. So we have to really use build these profiles. So lead scoring is something that is extremely important for us, that through marketing automation we do. And again, how are we interacting to increase conversion and also increase the total conversion, retention, lifetime value, all of it. So AI helps I think B2B brands in that way. It's a very, very important, has turned out to be very, very important for us.
Great to hear that, Smita, and thanks, Kunal. Interestingly, when we look at describing or writing the description for our panel discussion, I think since last 3 panel discussions, we have used ChatGPT. Even for this panel discussion, what are the key questions we should address in the panel discussion? ChatGPT played a role. The description all of you participants would have seen. I think a good part of that had come from ChatGPT. So that way, it is helping us as well. I just wanted to share something we have used. We've been using ChatGPT for. Now, since we have limited time, Suyash and Ankit, I'm going to open the next question to you. Request you to keep it in a minute so that we have time for Q&A, right? Yeah. So the next aspect is connected, of course. That's how can AI help improve customer experience and engagement? And share maybe some specific example experience you have, so that audience is left with something concrete.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I can start with a great example, right? Okay. I have a friend who's basically building like a corporate gifting solution, right? So what they've done is, as part of their outreach or to re-engage, what they've done is they've trained an internal AI model, right? Based on saying, hey, all my customers try and find their LinkedIn, Facebook, and like aggregate that data. And what the AI basically does is it's almost like a prompt, which says, hey, this customer of yours seemingly likes the Lakers, right? Which is a basketball team, right? And then it's saying, hey, that could be a great conversation starter, right? So it's what they've done is they're not using a public API model or public AI model. They've just trained it on their own CRM data, and then started saying, hey, surface anything that my customer likes, right? In terms of their general interest, right? So they're using that to essentially have better conversations, which are not transactional, which actually are very, very personalized in terms of being able to say, hey, I actually have a connection with you, right? So that's like he just shared it with me 2 days back, and like it was mind blowing, right? How you could do that. right? So that's sort of one example that I can give. I have more, but I would love for Piyush to also talk about some.
So yeah, so when it comes to customer experience in our category, primarily try to imagine stuff. So we are kind of using our own feedback system and CRM data to crunch in the insights that we get on a month-on-month basis. We typically sell around 3 crore luggage pieces every year, and if you even consider 1% feedback, that's a huge number. Like we have around 3 lakh data points where we are able to understand what is a consumer facing issue with, what is his experience being with the product that we deliver. And it's not possible that we give a perfect product, and this is how we have used AI in understanding and collating the data points that the consumers are facing into deciding how our next product build would be. When it comes to engagement, we are trying to build these products through small AI modeling of how consumer reacts to a certain change in a product. Uh, how would they like to engage with technology if a product is given? So what does our custom AI model inside, like internally, which we use, is a response center for any changes that would make. How will the response from the consumer change? Any association, it's a small panel sized development where AI keeps on understanding what consumers' response would be and generates a predictive model of saying, okay, fine, if you do an association with say Marvel, it will be resonating, or it will have good reach in say 18 to 24. So these are the small things that we do for consumer engagement and experience.
Great, Suyash, thank you for sharing. Let's move a little more faster. And again, to Kunal and Smita, this question is about, can AI, so we've been mostly talking about engaging, optimizing, maybe reducing the effort or cost. Can AI help improve creativity beyond what we are able to do as humans? Maybe you want to share some example or experience which our audience can relate to.
Yeah, here I would definitely like to talk about ChatGPT. We have mentioned it a lot of times during the session, and that is also one of the focal points when it comes to all the conversations which are going on within our organization on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, definitely ChatGPT, for those who know and for those who don't know, again, it's a very recent phenomenon. Again, it suffers from limitations for sure. Uneven factual accuracy. Sometimes, it writes plausible sounding but incorrect answers. And again, but this behavior is very much common to large language models. And even with these limitations, it can reduce those manual efforts and time by around more than 50%. I mean, there are live use cases to prove that, and we have also been working a lot on it. I mean, it's still lot in exploration stage and being part of conversations, but we are also putting considerable time and effort in exploring it as a tool, right? So like we'll quickly tell few immediate applications of ChatGPT. Like for example, when it comes to ad copy creation and say keyword research, it's a great help, right? Again, it's not something like the copies which it generates or the output which it gives. We might not be able to use it as it is on an immediate basis in our campaign, but then also it reduces the effort by more than 50%, by quick generation of ad copies, by suggesting keywords, relevant keywords and phrases, again by so one thing we have to realize is that, like all the AI models, ChatGPT also depends a lot on human input, right? So we need to train ourselves and evolve ourselves when it comes to, like, for example, in ChatGPT, there are prompts which you have to input to the platform, right? So we have to train ourselves accordingly, to get out the best result out of the platform. So that is something, but yeah, through this, it can definitely help in, creativity. Then talking about just few more tools, like for example, when it comes to static and video creatives, there also you have, tools, image generators like DALL-E 2, then there is Mid Journey, where, just by sharing few inputs with the platform, it can help you in by generating images. There is a fantastic platform called This Person Does Not Exist, right? That, is one of the AI that has left consumers stunned by creating images of humans who do not exist in reality, right? So this tool can be used by brands who need model images on a regular basis to launch new products. So these are the few of the innovations through which AI is helping us in improving creativity. Yeah, I mean, over to you, Smita.
Great. Yeah,
I
great.
think for us, we are kind of exploring, like, you see ad tech tools based on AI, where based on customer interaction and customer response to your creatives, it can churn out different kinds of ads and different versions of the ads that you create. Those tools are kind of dime a dozen today, right? So many of them. But I think to take this, AI to help you make creativity more productive. That's where, I kind of lead content strategy and content creation. So what we are looking at how to use AI is to kind of, build a partnership with a creative agency, that maybe if I've been working with this agency, and they have a repository and we have the information that this for this kind of audience, for in the another campaign in the future, maybe even 5 years hence, how can I make my content work harder, right? So it's not really improving the creativity, it's improving the productivity or the usability, the scalability of the content that I have already created, making my, with resources being sparse, and with the, so we all know the, in terms of the big idea campaigns, right? They are kind of on the decline. We are now, agile. We have to talk to our customers every day, but we can't create content every day, right? So we do need AI to kind of make our creative content more productive and do more for us. So I think that is something definitely that we are looking at as a brand to use AI for.
Sure, great. I think as both of you have talked about, I think one of the opportunities is creating video is very, very expensive affair. And who will record? Typically, we don't have a voice, we don't have a face. And who will create the script? So I think there are now systems available which can do it entirely. You give a topic, the script is being written, there is a persona being identified, which looks like, as Kunal mentioned, like a human which doesn't exist, and your entire video is being created. Likewise, I'm sure it's an opportunity in various aspects of marketing. Perfect. Now, before the final questions, with to Ankit and Suyash, would you like to talk about very briefly in terms of what should we be concerned about when we are using AI, maybe ethical or something which are, don'ts for using AI rather than, just blindly taking?
Obviously, clearly, I don't think any of us are as qualified to take this, because I think Elon Musk basically also talks about it, right? Where he's talked about saying, at what point does AI become all consuming and basically learns so much that it starts rejecting what we want it to do, right? And there are references in sci-fi movies like iRobot, wherein the machines become more powerful than humans, right? So who's to say, right? But I think for me, the biggest point in terms of ethical concerns in AI, right? And even in the early days, right? Because today AI is basically being trained on what data exists, right? So I think there are enough examples wherein the AI's responses are like politically skewed, right? So like, for example, if it probably will skew left versus right? So there are times when you are essentially saying, hey, do I want to appear non-political as a brand, right? But if I just completely rely on AI, because it is learning of a certain data set, right? Does it put a very biased opinion out there, right? And do I want that associated with my brand, for instance, right? So that's, I think, one that I've immediately seen, wherein how do you ensure that you as a brand or an individual use AI and still have a very neutral perspective out there, versus AI taking over and saying, hey, I'm going to present a very left or a right sort of perspective, right? So that's one example that I wrestle with at an overall level. To be honest, I think it's too requires like too much thought process. But I think, yeah, on a tactical level, this is what I've faced with AI a bunch of times.
Sure, Ankita, it's evolving, and I'm sure we are still far away from norms and protocols being created. But yeah, we should be aware of. Suhash, Kunal, you had also raised your hand. You wanted to ask, but before that, let me have Suhash. Would you like to add anything in this?
See, the source of truth for AI is very variable. So anything that comes out of AI might not be 100% accurate. That is one thing. Secondly, for us marketeers, the colloquial and the sentimental weightage in a communication also matters a lot, which a machine-generated response is voided. Very generic terms, very if you can say, doesn't pick up any trends or the lingos of today's Gen Z, Gen Alpha. These are the things I probably miss when it comes to AI, and this is a developmental story. Factually, of course, most of us have seen few examples here and there where we see that misquoted facts, the suddenly the I think AI got its own temper as well, where we have seen AI generated conversations going awry. So it needs a lot of guidance. It's not a source of truth. Uh, it's just you can say use it as a tool for anybody looking ahead, uh, as a as an opportunity also. These are the opportunity areas. You can see how you can make it more include NLP in it, make it more understandable or more relatable for basic consumer. Also look at how you can correct factual information that AI gets. Like if, for the news people generate, also we have people who verify the news. So AI is far away from being perfect. So for us, I think so that is the port of call. And for the future, I think you have a lot of work pending to be done when it comes to the AI.
Sure, Suhash, I think very well said. Kunal, now if you answer, I would want you to, in a single, maybe take one area other than what you talk about, one aspect you want to share in terms of future. You may pick maybe skill which is required, the jobs or the tools, or an area which is not yet impacted, which will be impacted. In addition to, if you want to share anything on the ethical concerns, so that we can cover it with everyone.
From the future perspective, see, again, all these AI technologies and platforms are very much dependent upon the data and the inputs, in terms of learning, all the data which is being fed into all these systems, right? So very soon we are going to look at a cookieless future. That's what again is a subject of discussion across brands and agencies, right, and platforms as well. So all the third-party cookies are very soon going to be phased out, and most of the platforms would be relying on first-party data to come out with these predictive analysis and all the outputs in terms of intelligence which they give. So there are a lot of questions which are going to be raised around privacy laws, user privacy, and that is something which needs to be taken care of. Firstly, how this data is collected, how user anonymity is maintained. So these are some of the questions which these platforms will have to be ready for. Few of them have already faced heat in this regard in the past, without naming any platform. So that is something which really is the need of the hour. Second one again, very quickly, this whole ecosystem where there are brands, there are marketing agencies, there are platforms, it needs to be a collective effort. So we need to evolve the way we think, the way we look at data, the way we connect with our customers, both existing and prospective. So for that, this whole flow of data from brand to agency to platform and vice versa, it needs to be, hand in hand, hand in gloves. So it needs to be like that. And if there is any breakage in this whole chain, that whole AI, the output which we get out of these platforms or in terms of learnings and insights, it's not going to be, as effective as we expect it to be. So for that, we all need to be in sync in terms of way the changes we have to make, say on the websites or on the apps, the way the tracking mechanism has to be in place. So it all has to be in sync. So that is something collectively all these parties need to prepare for. So
Got it.
that's
Sure, Kunal. I think that's needed. Smita, while you are answering this, and I can now start connecting the questions which are being asked. When we talk of future, can you throw light based on your experience in terms of what kind of new jobs this is going to open up, and what are the skills which are expected from marketeers who want to ride on to this opportunity?
Yeah, I think you see, I was recently having a conversation with one of our agency partners, our creative agency partners, and it was like, will we have CMOs in the future, right? That was the question posed to me. And I think what I said was, I don't think, disciplines will exist in isolation anyway. So the question that future of AI in marketing doesn't exist. Future of AI in business. It's a whole business. You have to look at it holistically, right? It's not marketing and sales and this and that. It's a customer experience design. So I think the skills in the future, the most important job will be for people who think about customer experience design, who understand and can bring content, technology, and data together. Because those things, I mean, like Kunal just mentioned, right? Like you cannot do AI without having a data framework, right? So we have a customer data platform. We are going into the walled garden, right? Like what he alluded to right now, a cookie-less world, right? So when we think about that, it is about people, even if you do not need to be a data scientist per se. Not everybody is a data scientist, but all marketers need to understand data frameworks. This is absolutely critical. Even a person who kind of works in content, right? So I began as a content strategist myself, right? What I realized is that content is more of a science than an art today, especially for marketing. It's no longer just creative. You have to bring in a knowledge of. So if you're wanting to be a content professional in the future, you still need to understand data. If you want to be, in any kind of marketing position, you still need to understand automation. You still need to understand user experience, right? Marketers, key skill for marketer is understanding customer experience touch points, understanding data. So I think, so the future of AI, or we can use AI more ethically, effectively, if we have those skill sets as a combination.
Got it. Great, Smita. By the way, guys, we have touched 4 o'clock. I know this is a very exciting discussion. However, some of you as a participants may have to move on. Kunal has to move on. Now, we'll still continue. Some of our panelists will continue. I just request extension of maybe another 5-10 minutes to all the participants and the panelists who can be here. But before we do that, Kunal, if you have to move on, I really, really want to thank you for taking time out and sharing your insight. It has been, really, really valuable, including, for me, not just for participants. We look forward to, learning more from you and wish you all the best in using AI for marketing for your clients and for yourself.
Thanks a lot, Pradeep. I also had a great time and it was really insightful. And thanks to all my fellow panelists and to all the participants. All the best. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Kunal.
I'll take a leave.
Sure. As we move forward now, there are 2 polls I want to do before or when all the participants are here. One is we're doing a next panel discussion on online advertising, which trends, challenges, and opportunities. So the entire world of search engine marketing, other display, YouTube, all advertising in the online world. I think this is one of the most where most of the budget goes today. So all of those who are interested can share your interest so that we know and we can register you for this exciting panel discussion 3 weeks ahead. Now, while people are participating, Suhash and Ankit, I want to ask or request you to share when we talk of future. Maybe Ankit, given your focus is on growth marketing, you can share, how can AI be used to create some exciting growth hacks? And maybe you can share some examples on that. And Suhash, to you, role of AI in product marketing, right? It's not just because a product is not fixed. There is so much value which can be taken from understanding the audience. And as all of you have shared, we have so much of data, and that's the base of anything we do in marketing, as Smita had mentioned. So how can data intelligence be used to improve the product and experience around it? And Ankit, to you, as I shared, how can AI be used to create more opportunities to hack growth for organizations to move to the next level? Just before that, thanks everyone. I'll close this poll, and while Suhash and Ankit are answering, I will launch another poll so that we can at least have and that's the poll about your experience of this discussion, which is still going on, but since we have touched 4, I wanted to take as much insight about today's discussion. Yes, Ankit, to you, would you share about opportunity of AI for growth hacking? And maybe you want to share some examples. Yeah.
I mean, so one is, I think, fundamentally the future of the ecosystem as well, right? Which is, I fundamentally believe that there will be a lot many a single person running like good businesses, right? So instead of a lot of brands and like a lot of big brands, which will continue, I fundamentally see a lot of 1% businesses coming through in the near future. So I think for me, that itself, like the growth hack is because it will be AI powered, right? Which is you've saved the person so much time, right? Through automation and being able to do a little bit of research. So that I think that for me is like one growth hack is I think it'll become an open playing field wherein you don't have to have like a team of 5 or 6 to actually start a new business for yourself, right? So I think that's sort of one that is just AI powered. The other one that I think through, right, which is one example I gave was saying, how much can you personalize using your own first party data and then apply AI on that, right? So for example, and now a lot of tools also come, right? Like we use a CRM lifecycle solution provider, right? And even in my past organizations, right? So there is a lot of nuance on saying, hey, what message should I send, right? Which is saying, what should the message be? But there is also a nuance in saying, where should I send that message, right? Should I send email? Should I send a push notification? Should I send a WhatsApp, right? In my past organization, because we had a lot of data science firepower, the team actually built something called the next best channel, right? Which is saying you can actually preload all the messages that are suited. Like you can put a push, you can put an email and all that. And then like basically pass data, and AI is used to saying, okay, for this particular user, should I do email versus push versus SMS, right? So that's a great example where you're saying it's just not messaging, it's also delivery, right? To say, hey, who do I send this message to, right? So that's sort of one example we look at a lot, right? The other thing we also do is, at least when you're starting out, right, you're basically trying to say, okay, you know what, like I don't have the luxury of so many channels or so many resources, right? So we like sometimes it's very simple to just ask chat gpt and advanced versions where saying, hey, how do you think company x differentiates itself in terms of what they do in marketing versus this, right? Sometimes you get that example. I am actually helping a web3 project, right? And like the first thing I asked chat gpt is like, can you tell me about great web3 communities in India? Right now, imagine doing that research on your own versus getting ChatGPT to actually build an entire list for you, right? And then be able to, and then also asking, hey, what could we do? And like the response was, hey, you could do a lot of permissionless marketing, wherein anybody who holds, let's say, a certain NFT, you can drop an NFT and tell them that they have access, right? So again, like in terms of just building new channels or like a new growth hack itself, I don't think we're there yet, or at least I'm not aware. But I think in terms of increasing the speed of launching new experiments is that we see used. And I think the other is just sort of solving the growth funnel through personalization, not just messaging, but also how you deliver it. So I think these are two examples that I would think of that like we are trying to sort of touch the surface on.
Great show. I think, Ankit, yeah, absolutely. I think today with so much data and the tools available, the number of people which are required for entire life cycle of marketing has significantly reduced. So it's far more open level playing field where you don't need that many resources to be able to compete with the best and the largest. Great. Suresh, would you like to share about the opportunity of AI in terms of the future for continuously improving your product as well?
So what happens is that people are started using luggage in all seasons now. There is a lot of travel happening. It has grown. It's doubled over last year. So what helps us understand is what product in what city, in what region, through what channel, because currently we have 7 channels of sales, and the production line is fairly stressed, and a lot of projection work has to go through. A 9-month projection work has to go through to understand supply at least all the channels with all kind of requirements they have. Now it is chiseled down to understanding where is the demand coming in from and what kind of products need to go in certain channel. So that kind of understanding, that kind of specificities are coming through. And the best part about understanding what information we get through AI primarily is data points which can be easily hoodwinked by a few strategy members or few brand members who majorly take decisions on what happens and how it happens. So there are few pointers, and it gives us a certain value to that pointers to understand whether we should leverage it or not. Today there are bottlenecks on our production lines where certain compliances have to be taken care of, which delays a certain product. These optimizations on SOP can be delivered by AI. Currently, the work is on legal teams, of course. Now that even doing influencer campaigns has become has comes with certain mandatories. So for us to understand how are we compliant or not, our audits, all of that needs to go through a certain CRM which is powered by AI, which helps us understand where are we not compliant. So all these things which are precursor to marketing also assist in marketing and try to help us understand how better to market a certain product, and what region, what audience. This is saving us a lot of marketing dollar. And product marketing is set to change with the help of AI. Another thing that I want to add, which Ankit definitely said, like growth hacking. Again, to adding to his point, the beauty of AI is that crunching numbers becomes easy. We are able to understand the trends earlier than expected, and for somebody like for say a startup, it's not easy to hire a research agency and run a full circle research panel. So for growth hacking, I think so it at least resolves the grunt work that goes into deciding the product fit for the market, and it also makes them understand how a certain product which can be test marketed in a certain small region and understand the production capacity through which they save a lot on inventory, they save a lot on service, they save a lot on manners. So that's something that I would say AI has future for.
Got it. Great. Now, as I can see questions, there are questions around, and maybe Smita, you want to answer about how can AI be used for effective content creation? Right? There have been so many debates about should the content be used, would it be flagged for SEO, or can it be used to scale SEO? Right? And given your experience in content, would you share from based on your experience that how can AI be used? What are the do's and don'ts in using it for content creation? And any tools, and now to all of you, anything you are sharing, if you can share some of the tools which our audience can experience other than some very, very popular one like ChatGPT, that would be also very helpful.
Yeah, I think AI can definitely inform content strategy, right? So simple things like if you have a profile and if you know what content they are reacting to, responding to, what is really resonating, based on that is what your future content strategy will be built. And I think one of the tools that I personally love is SEMrush, and they have added a lot of content strategy, modules into it, and it's completely powered by, like, you can put in your competitors, you can see what kind of ads they are running, the ad copies, and what kind of click-throughs or CPCs they are getting. So that's definitely helpful, and it also kind of helps you track your position, like your share of voice on search, organic search. So basically, as brands, of course, we need to continuously spend on paid search, but we always, like, we have new products coming up, right, all the time. So our budgets need to shift to newer products, and we have to make sure that our older, portfolio, the main bread and butter mainstay, that keeps driving organic traffic. So we use a lot of this information from tools like this to inform our content strategy and build, and we continuously track our positions against competitors, track what kind of content the competitor is building. So to kind of do an assessment, like say for certain keywords, the competitor is actually winning on search over me. So and we are actually on this tool, you're actually able to go and see which pages of the competitor is kind of ranking for these keywords. So you are able to go and check, like, okay, what is the content that that is driving this traffic to them and not to me. So definitely, AI and these tools can help us inform content strategy. It will be more productive and efficient. So you're not just just creating again based on assumptions. You're creating based on data.
Got it. Great, Smita. I'm sure it's going to be even more aggressively used for content. Suhash, you have to leave, right? Anyways, we are just taking another 2 minutes. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. Thanks a ton. We'll stay in touch.
Thanks everyone. Thanks. It was a lovely panel. A lot to learn from everyone. Of course, all the best to all the participants. And surely, if you want to connect, we have been marked on LinkedIn. So if you want to connect something specific, please feel free to reach out. Thanks, guys. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.
Perfect. Thanks. Yeah. Just final question, maybe Ankit, before we wrap up. As I look into the questions, the opportunity of AI for lead generation. What do you think are the opportunities where a startup, maybe a company which is struggling to generate leads, can use it for lead generation?
And see, again, like I don't think there's a direct correlation of sorts, right? Because if you could just like use a tool and generate leads, all of us would be out of jobs very, very quickly, right? But I think one is just being able to get as much information about the lead, right? Which is saying you can use a lot of chat GPT solutions for that, right? Just use a lot of AI and a lot of, like, for example, what do you do for lead gen, right? Let's say you do cold emails, right? But instead of sending one cold email, could you use ChatGPT to do 20 different titles and like 5 different opening lines, right? And that increases your chances of being able to do better lead gen as well, right? The other thing, and like it's a great example, right? I love HubSpot as a company, wherein what they do is their core product is HubSpot, right? But they keep building these smaller tools. Like, for example, they build like a AI-based chatbot now, right? Wherein you can just chat with a bot, and then that becomes a lead generation vehicle for HubSpot as a whole, right? So for example, I know somebody asked a question saying, what is the future of real estate portals, right? Or like those are also used for chat GPT, right? Or for lead gen. So one way is like, instead of saying, hey, do you want to buy real estate from me, right? Imagine being able to train a specific AI model and being able to say, okay, let us find your best home, right? Wherein it asks you for a bunch of cues and says, okay, I need a 3 BHK, a flat versus an independent house and all that, right? And then the end CTA is essentially saying, hey, we actually might have something relevant for you, right? So that becomes a lead almost, right? So that's sort of one example where you could build like interesting automated AI-based problem-solving chats or chatbots, right? And then eventually, if the output is great, then there is a very good likelihood somebody will say, hey, can I fill this promise and can I do this for you, right? So I think that's sort of one way for me. The other is not so much lead generation, but like how do you nurture the lead as well, right? Which is, especially as Smita also pointed out, right? In B2B, sometimes the sales cycle starts 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, right? So how do you nurture? And like for that, you need good prompts, right? Like, for example, if you can have your CRM solution be enriched enough saying, hey, this person actually posted a photo from Italy, for example, right? And like, this is happening. I'm not like talking about a fictional scenario, right? And then like your salesperson has something relevant to talk about, right? They have a prompt that my prospect is in Italy. So it's not so much about saying trying to sell it to them, but it gives a conversation starter, right? And there's a likelihood that person responds because it's so personalized. So for me, I think like just pure lead generation, I think ChatGPT or like just AI gives you a lot more tools to do it faster, better, more experimental. And then more importantly, I think the nurturing piece is really, really powerful, right? Once you start getting into it. So yeah.
Sure, absolutely, Ankit. And as Smita also earlier shared, and that's where I want to really close this discussion on that AI is impacting everything around business. And if we want to really use it effectively, we must have a holistic view. And that's where the real power is, because it's not just about an ad copy being created. If it can help you improve your customer, then I think you can use it for the entire journey, and not just once you have acquired the customer, even beyond that, because the significant opportunity exists in the overall lifetime value. It has been a fantastic discussion. Those Suesh and Kunal have moved on, but I really want to thank each one of you, to all of our participants as well, staying till so long. I extended it really long today. Thanks a ton. And I'm sure for each one of us, it's a journey which has almost, started, and wishing all of us using it effectively, and look forward to staying in touch, learning from each other, and making, overall marketing interesting and more effective for all of us. Thanks a ton. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend ahead, and wish you all the best in using this phenomenal opportunity of AI for not just, I would say, marketing, for the entire business cycle. Thanks.
Likewise.
you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Pradeep. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Take care. Bye, Smita.